How's it going, guys? Chris back here again with some more MTGA content for Historic this time around. And we're in the Historic play queue because I was sitting here looking at the anthologies and a concept came to me that I wanted to see how practical it was. So I built this deck, and it's not a fully functional deck. It is designed to make the concept work. So we're working with a Omnath shell in Historic. And we have a bunch of mana dorks, and our mana base is the unique part. And we gave it away, but actually, we saved Beseju. So we do Milvish Mystic next turn, and then Beseju is going to be our end result. So you might ask why we're playing the bad tap lands from the Historic Anthology, and the answer is right here. It's Follow the Thran. Follow the Thran destroys all lands. These are indestructible, so you can essentially use them in a number of different ways to get around the restriction on well, that didn't work. Oh well. Yeah, so we're basically playing this deck because it can one-sided Armageddon. And that is really powerful. We don't have any red mana, so we're a bit off Genesis, but we can Armageddon next turn. And this deck runs all of the new tap lands, so it's pretty resilient to this, basically. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to one-sided Armageddon. So we put 4 swamps in. Return to Beseju in this one. I don't have any red mana. So this deck runs an absorbent amount of lands. Like I say, I just don't know if this will actually win us the game. Like, it's tilty enough that it can get people to concede, but I haven't figured out the plan after the Armageddon. Because we're up 2 mana, and next turn we'll return a land and we'll just follow the Thran again. And eventually that'll means we'll just take our way out from underneath our opponent, but I don't know if it's going to be enough, you know? I don't know. I also need to work on the red mana in the deck. And from this experience, I learned I can take Beseju out, because it doesn't do necessarily what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to be like a Cleansing Wildfire type effect, because you can target one of these lands, and then search up another basic, and you basically have a wild growth. Here's a blue card. Let's get rid of these lands again. So I need a way to return enchantments, and I need to fix my mana base so that red's a little bit more prevalent. Because the issue is we don't have red mana. If we had red mana, we would have been able to close out the game. Which means besides you can come out and we can just put in either red dual lands. I don't think I'm running the Gruul Indestructible set, and I probably should be. Golos fixes it if there's no counter spell. But I imagine there's a counter. Well. So do I just get a red spell or do I get Cataracts? I think I just get a red spell, right? Because the benefit of getting Cataracts would have been that we could have played Golos, but we don't have, we're going to need another red source to get Golos online. Luckily we have some mountains. Like, our mana advantage is significant. It's just, can we actually capitalize on it? I don't know. Hey, that's what I'd like to see. I'm going to draw a card. So next turn we can Genesis Ultimatum, we can Wildfire, like, we have the tools to make it work. Hopefully Genesis Ultimatum gets us another answer to this nonsense. Well, we're the nonsense deck. They're actually trying to play Magic. But we trying to play nonsense. So we got Elvish Mystic as well as Llanowar Elves. Even though we don't need that much green mana, it's just for acceleration. Like, if they added colorless mana, they'd serve the same function in our deck. We basically want to play Golos as quickly as possible. So, do I take a 2 for 1, or do I take a 1 for 2? This replaces itself, this doesn't. I guess we just trust in the Genesis Ultimatum. Like, I think our opponent has correctly read that our deck can't win the game. But I guess they're kind of interested in what we're doing too, because this is an interesting plan. Like, it's not something you see every day on the ladder. They made a treasure. Okay. Genesis Ultimatum. The tap one can go away. Play Golos. Now we'll get Cataracts. We don't really have a choice in the matter, honestly. Like, we were ramping real hard. I have 25 cards left in my deck. I feel bad. Like, I think if I put an Ulamog in the deck, it'll just become a lot more consistent. But at that point, like, That point is just a Genesis Ultimatum deck with Fall the Thran added to it. And I kind of want to build around a one-sided Armageddon deck. That's kind of something I really want. I will take the 1 damage. Not that big a deal to me. I don't know what our blue-black opponent has at their disposal, but it hasn't been a counterspell so far. Do they let the Genesis Ultimatum go through? Yep. Okay. Well, this solves some problems. I'll take the untapped one. I knew I had to record this video when the thought went through my head, but I was 90% sure it just wouldn't work. I thought Historic was beyond the point where a 6 mana spell could be relevant. Goodbye lands. It's really sad that Besage you can't target your own stuff. I mean, I guess it might be too powerful if it could, but if it could, that'd be really cool. Are you gonna draw a card? Like, eventually my own mass shenanigans are gonna kill me. So I still have to figure out how to close out the game. I also need to change the mana base around to get more red sources in it. And I think we'll remove Besage you. I don't know if I'm going to remove Besage you and just change up the mana base, because Besage you and Cleansing Wildfire were serving the same slot. I didn't realize they didn't work together. So since they're not working in the same slot, I don't need as many basic lands to make them work. There's only the 4 copies of Cleansing Wildfire. Our opponent is tanking hard. They're probably tilting at the fact that we are match land destruction. Like, that's a very tilting archetype. I can understand why that would be something you wouldn't enjoy. But it's gonna happen. Like, all of these lands are gone. I have 2 Llanowar Elves for blockers. I'm gonna play Golos. What I need... So what does this deck need? I was thinking that maybe it would be good to have a way to shuffle in our graveyard. Because if we shuffle in our graveyard, then we won't need to worry about chaining Genesis Ultimatums into Genesis Ultimatums is also just really lucky. Like, we should not have been that lucky. But we found... To be fair, though, we are at the end of the game, right? We did have to spend a considerable amount of time to get here. I say that. We've only been recording for 14 minutes, and we've played 2 games, so it's an average of 7 minutes, I guess. I think our opponent has checked out of this game. I don't blame him. Like, if you cannot play Magic, there's no point in staying around. And when it's 4 lands versus this many, is it worth playing at that point? Like, you are so out-resourced that it's not gonna be close unless you're so low to the ground that you can take the mana loss and just keep swinging. Yeah, there we go. So, is this our second game or is this our first game? I think this is our first game. I'm going to pause here. I'm going to change out the mana base a bit, and we'll go into game 2 with what we've learned from game 1. Okay, we are back in the play curtain. So, the changes we made, Bezeju's out. The Gruul artifact lands is in. I've also added in Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, as just a win condition. So what I learned from that last game is that Follow the Thran's really good tempo if you can get it to work. And we need a finisher. We just need a finisher. If your opponent's still alive after 3 Armageddons and 4 Genesis ultimatums, you're playing too slow. So I added Ulamog as our finisher, and I added in Sledgewood's Bridge as just another red source. Looks like we're actually going to be low on blue sources this time around, but so next turn we're going to be up to 4 mana. We'll find a blue source on our turn 4, or on our turn 5. Actually, we're going to be up to 5 mana. Hey, never didn't have it. Take action. This is a hard one. Because I want the blue source, but I also want to be able to use Golos. So I'm tempted to put in World Tree. But the reason that, the reason the other land went out over World Tree is because World Tree, is just kind of bad when you're destroying it. It's good other... Hey! Well, you know what? I'm gonna do my thing. If you don't like it, go away. I need another 2 blue sources before I can actually start Genesis ultimating. So the deck runs 27 lands. That's on the high end, but for what we're trying to do, letting them reuse their scry triggers. We can block a 2/2 here. That'll save us a little bit of life. Hey, World Tree. Could use me one of those. Never gonna get to 6 lands, though. So we die here, but we do die having destroyed all of the lands. Look at that. That's how a game of Magic should go. So we might want to figure out a way to deal with low to the ground decks. Because this was initially why I didn't think the deck would work. Because I thought that the format was just too quick for it to work. But like if you're playing against a control deck like we saw in game 1, it is pretty powerful. And I think the deck we just played against, it wasn't like an aggro deck. It was more like a mid-range deck. Maybe on the lower end of mid-range, but Still just mid-range. I'm gonna keep this. We're gonna have to draw more lands, but... Monster. Okay, you're an aggro deck. So I need blue, I need green, and I need red. Maybe this is a deck you don't keep unless you have a green and red source. Tapped. So what is going to net me more lands? This nets me 3 mana. This nets me 3 mana. This nets me 3 mana. Actually, this nets me a little more. Doesn't net me anymore. Okay. Control Z, Control Z. So chances are I won't draw land, but if I do draw an untapped land, I can just play it, but I didn't, so I'm gonna have to get a green mana from other places. There we go. Do I have 6 mana? I just hope they haven't drawn the pump spells yet. So they have Scale Up and a couple others. Doesn't matter. Back to square one, opponent. Unfortunately, destroying their lands doesn't really do a lot. Because they... Well, I guess they're going to concede out anyways, but... The issue with destroying their lands is... The way it works is that they have the minion of the mighty, and then they hit him with 2 pump spells, and then they put a big dragon into play. You can do that with 2 mana. Like, that's not a big ask for 2 mana. 1 scale up does the job. So we didn't really learn any lessons from that. I'm just going to go into the next game. Probably ended off here unless I figure out a deficiency of the deck that we can work on or something else. Like, we'll be playing this deck again at some point, probably. I know we don't do as many, like, brew type videos where we're actively working on a deck as we're playing along, but so this hand is a little rough, but if Billiam isn't doing much, we'll be in good shape. I'm not going to opt to play the forest into the land or else because I want to get as many of my tap lands down as quickly. Okay. Billiam is done. Did we play against Billiam? We might have played against Billiam. If Billiam recognizes that we're playing a bunch of indestructible lands, and then concedes out of nowhere, it's a good bet that they've seen this deck before. Maybe not from us, maybe from somebody new. Doesn't matter too much. The end result is the same, right? Whatever happened to Kiora? Is she doing things in the story? I have not seen her in a while. This hand is rough. There is no green mana, but we're going to keep it on the promise that these elves will eventually make us green mana. So the nice thing about having the Llanowar Elves is that they can spiral into more green mana if we need them to. Weird how tap lands have become more relevant over the course of their tenure in Historic, because like back when Historic was brand new, like you had gate decks, and they weren't necessarily the most powerful decks, but they were still around, you know? And now that we're getting more gate support, that means that gates are a little more powerful. And if this is an elf deck, we'd probably just lose. I think it's an elf deck that caught a greedy hand. Well, maybe not. Like, Overgrown Farmland isn't an elf card. Llanowar Elves versus Elvish Mystic. Can we name them more? Oh, it's a Piper deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just gonna get another of the blue-green tap lands. That way you can run out our elves, and so I imagine Ulamog's coming down. I mean, that's what I would put in play with the Piper. Avison. Well, GG. You've successfully beat us at our own game. Yeah, so there's the question. How do we deal with the Angelist of Angels? Hey! What do you know? We had a solution. I didn't think we had a solution. Turns out just getting 10 mana does the job. Isn't that weird? A Platinum Angel? What are you doing? Let's stop this foolishness. Even if I can't kill you by attacking. I can still exile your library. And eventually I'll find another Ulamog. And that can exile Platinum Angel. Ulamog also is land destruction, right? I just don't have many turns to do it, do I? Go swing in, and then we have to hope that we Golos into the right answers. Go, go, Golos. Hey. Take the untap one. Hey. And then the rest go to my hand, right? Oh, okay. Well, I was dumb, but we figured it out in the end. So we have won this battle. Alright, so if you're doing this yourself, what you want to do is say no to putting the other Ulamog on the battlefield so it goes to your hand so you can get his cast triggered. That's how it works. I knew that. I just didn't do it for some reason. What do you got? An ancient gold dragon? You have 0 life, though. Like, I have an Ulamog. Shall I? So I've lost. Because I need to cast another Ulamog. Platinum Angel. The one of Platinum Angel got me. Like, they have no cards in their library. They are at negative 13 life. Damn you, Platinum Angel. I wonder how many they run. So they have at least 2. 3. So it's a 3 of in their deck? Ah, well, that's rough. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.